growing up as a working class kid gave me a massive amount of energy. But when I bought into that, it just made me feel cheap and limited and not accepted anywhere.
It takes away your power.
It takes away all your power. Yeah.
And it's also easy to blame when you're not putting the work in.
Yeah, you blame it, it's disempowering,
Yes.
So it's like, well, this group won't accept me because I'm working class. Well, why do you want to be accepted by them? Why don't you make your own thing over here? This person over here doesn't accept me because I didn't go to the right school. Wow, fuck them. Why do you need to be accepted by them? Are they even meeting their own standards? Why do we want to be accepted by them? Well, these people aren't giving me an award. Well, why do you want an award off them? These people can't even control their own waist measurement. These people are betraying their own soul every day. They're betraying their own family every day. It's not a judgment. It's just saying you don't need validation from people that aren't meeting their own standards. Come back to yourself. Find your centre, and none of that will matter. Then you can work in the world and not be over. I'm saying this like it's easy. It's not. I've struggled with it. It's been a real wrestle for me.
Well, tell us about your. A really, really good example of this is when you've come from country, a working class, and you weren't accepted by the martial arts. You wanted to go into that inner circle, but you weren't accepted.
Yeah, that wasn't a class thing. I wasn't. I always was in the martial arts and looking at my seniors. People like Terry O'Neill and Dennis Martin and people like that, and Frank Brennan and Andy Sherry. These were like the gods of the martial arts when I was first starting, and I'm thinking I want to meet these people. I want to be around these people, and I couldn't understand why they were so good, why they were so much better than everybody else.
It's quite an elite club as well. If you're not in it,
it kind of is, and it isn't. It's not. It's elite only in that it's a high level of play, but it's not elite in that they don't let people in because they can't block anybody. If you're either in the room or you're not. If you're in the room, you're in the room. If you're at that frequency, they have no choice. They want to meet you.
Yes. So yeah, continue. So it was.
So Sharon said to me, "Don't stop trying to meet your heroes. Just do the work. Do the work. Do the work." And I wasn't doing enough work. I was trying to have 3 before 3 occurred.
Were you blaming them as well in any way? Were you saying?
I wasn't blaming them. I just didn't understand. I did within society. I did feel marginalised, and I did think it's mostly for me. It was just mostly understand. I didn't really understand why this person could earn that much and I couldn't, or why this person was there and I wasn't, and why that person was getting a break but I wasn't. It was more of a lack of understanding. I never felt like I blamed, although with my first wife I did blame her for everything. I was stuck in a shit job because of her, and it wasn't. And one day she said to me, if you're so unhappy, stop blaming me and change jobs. And I realised then it was me. I was afraid of everything. So with the martial arts, Sharon just said to me, do the work, and those people will want to meet you. And that's exactly what happened. So nobody blocks you from getting into the room, and nobody can kick you out, but you can enter the room if you enter the frequency.
You became the centre of it to some degree.
At one point, I did, and then other people wanted to be in my room, and then some people were like, "Well, why isn't he letting me in, or why is he kicking me out?" I didn't let anybody in. I didn't kick anybody out. If you're at the frequency, you're in the room, and to be in the room, you don't have to do much. You just have to fully immerse yourself into that place. For me, it was just meant full-time training with ascending levels of instruction. So I was always at the bottom of someone else's class, and I gave up my job to train full-time. Even before I gave up my job, I was training 2 or 3 times a day because I was obsessed with it, and I made myself ill a few times by overtraining. But so once you get to that level, I suddenly thought, oh, this is why these guys are so good. They're doing it full-time, and they've got amazing instruction around them. And I never felt really either that I had consistent instruction from corporeal people. I spent time with different teachers, but most of what I learned, I went on the door. I was an average second dan. I went on the door, and there's an egregore around that environment, like a spirit or a being, that taught me the reality of that situation. But it said, before I can teach you, you have to get rid of everything you think you know, which I did. And then I just found this truth, and it was so sharp and so visceral and so rude. And I just started teaching, and everyone was going, that is the truth. I know that's the truth. That you can tell. It contains God in it. It's like it's got that, we call it yakin, that certainty.